Hello, lovelies. Welcome to my channel, the Judy TV show. I talk about marriage and marriage-related trending issues, and I am Judith. Friends, I want to talk about the one of the trending ones, the Prince Gozie Okeke, a Christian. He sings Christian songs. Let me put it like that. That his ex-wife Njideka just got remarried. The guy has finally reacted and opened up, even though in the video he tried to do, he kept on saying, I want to talk, this thing is choking me, I want to speak out now, I want to open up now, just help me to share this video. And so at the end of the day, this guy didn't say anything. Friends, Prince Gozie Okeke is from the southeastern part of the country, that is Nigeria, and then so also he's his wife. I remember they sang one song like that in their local language, Akanchawa. You understand it is grace or favor. No, I think it's favor. And then they are well known for that particular song because the song went viral as at that time they sang the song. And then they've been married for a couple of years and they have, I think, two or three children. And then somewhere along the line, they started having issues to the extent that they got divorced. Yes, they got divorced. They were properly divorced. When they got divorced, Njideka, that's the name of his wife or his ex-wife, Njideka acted in a movie that was produced by the legend Osofia, that's Nkemo. I wouldn't know the name of the movie, but she acted and she played the role of a bad baby in that. It was like, I mean, she was just like let loose. She played the role of a bad baby in that movie. I remember vividly. She wore a bombshell. She's very fair, smoking and all that. Whether it was just film tricks or whatever, but that was the part she played in that video and everything. And then Gozie didn't help matters. Gozie now started singing songs, indirectly shading her because the song, one of the songs, is it two now? He was calling her Jezebel and Delilah, even though he didn't mention her name. But a lot of netizens traced it to the fact that this is ex-wife that is trying to shade, calling her Jezebel and Delilah that came to shave her. Delilah in the Bible, the story of Delilah in the Bible now, that came to shave his hair, but he did not agree, and so on and so forth. But throughout this of everything, Njideka didn't say anything, as in to come and start attacking him on the social media or even doing her own video or doing her own stuff because she also sings. She didn't do all of that, and then after a while, Gozie rested. But then, being that they were divorced, in 2020, I mean 2021, Gozie had a very fatal accident that affected him moving, as at that time. I think he was in the wheelchair for a couple of months. Njideka was going to see him, I mean, for her, it's not like this is a do or die, despite the fact that he's the father of my children, but for her, it wasn't a do or die. She was still visiting, she went visiting actually, and then, was there for him. I think just took care of him, as much as she could, as much as it was allowed for her to do, because she has children with this man. But then, guys, the important thing was that what brought about their divorce, the news that was loud and strong that time was that Gozie eats agege bread. If you understand what I mean, he prefers fellow men. Okay, he doesn't pay attention to his wife, and then he's always men. I think the lady caught him a couple of times and all that. So allegedly, that was what led to their marriage breakdown, and then at the end of the day, they divorced. In fact, they identified one other guy also who also sings Christian songs as his partner, but I think the guy is late now, allegedly. But again, if we recall, last year, 2020, is it 2024 or 2023? Now, I think 2024, Lover brought out three lists, in three batches of men, fathers, uncles, brothers that he alleged are agege bread eaters. Though Lover said this list is releasing it with his full chest, that anybody mention his name is mentioned there that feels it is not true, that the person should challenge him or her, and then you bring out the proof, but nobody coughed. But the thing is that in that list, three guys that sings Christian songs were mentioned. Number one was this Gozie Okeke. Yes, this Gozie Okeke was number one. So it was like, a confirmation of the story that, made rounds that other time. Gozie Okeke was there. Peterson Okopi, the one that just wedded. You recall that his best man, was weeping profusely on that day of wedding. That now made people to like, what is going on here? Is it an indirect way of confirming what Jesus lover said? But at the end of the day, Peter Okopi said, yes, is that not Peterson Okopi didn't say anything, didn't respond to that. Neither did the Gozie. And the third person was Ebuka Songs. Just love I mentioned the three of them amongst the other people that he now mentioned. But the reason why I mentioned these particular people, these three, is because they sing gospel songs or they sing Christian songs, so to say. So, like I said, the allegation then was that this guy is into eating agege bread and all that. That was the major reason, and I think Njideka also from the allegations that time caught him a couple of times, according to the allegations that was making rounds that time. That was the major reason why they had to go their separate ways, and that they ended up getting divorced. But I think Njideka felt that the children were still minors at that time, leaving them at that particular point in time. That this guy, because Gozie is also a young guy, if this guy should go and get married to another person, that these children might, suffer for what is not their fault. So she decided to stay, even though stay on her own, but at the same time, reaching out to her children and everything, until the children are grown. I think they are now teenagers and everything. So fortunately for her, God brought somebody her way, and then she just remarried. Now that she's remarried, you can now see one or two songs because Gozie has started singing one or two songs again, and then he now tried to react in the particular video that I saw, where he was saying that this thing has been eating him up. He doesn't want to keep quiet anymore. He wants to talk so that people could hear him, and that people should share this video. I said, what video are we sharing? You have not said anything. I said, what I want to say. He kept on saying he's going to talk, he's going to talk. At the end of the day, Gozie didn't say anything. But what am I trying to say? These people are already divorced. So whatever thing that happens, they've gone their separate ways. So Njideka is right if she wants to remarry. In this part of the world, a lot of people believe that once a woman has like 3, 4 children or so, that no person will come her way, especially somebody who is not married. But at the end of the day, nobody is God. God does things his own ways, okay? But what I want to the lesson, most times when I do my videos, I try to like draw a general lesson for anybody that cares to listen. But the lesson I want to bring out in this particular video, look, gentlemen, if you know that you love fellow men, that you eat agege bread, please don't look for sardine. If you know that it's your fellow men that you are into, even though the Bible says that it's an abomination unto God, but if you decide to live your life like that, no wahala. The day you will meet your creator, you answer any question he asks you, you will answer. But my own is that here in the physical, please don't look for sardine. Stay with your agege lifestyle. Because by the time you now went and look for sardine, this lady might just marry you innocently without knowing who you are for real. And then 2, 3, 4, 5 years, 10 years down the line, she will now discover. And then the marriage breaks up. What about the children? What about the lady? The betrayal, the way the thing will now turn out to be what she didn't plan. Apparently, she must have planned that, this marriage is going to last, and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, it now turns out the way that it turns out. Who will now be losing? My own is that if you believe in, eating agege bread, if that is what you want, be proud of that, right? Number one, if you know you eat agege, then don't marry. Yes, don't marry, stay like that. If you have siblings, let those ones marry and then, have children and all that. Otherwise, if you walk into a social media, a social welfare office and say you want to adopt a child, if they grant you that, well, that is well and fine. But I don't know whether they grant me that. But if they grant you that, well and fine. Excuse me. But the point I'm making is that if you know you eat agege bread, please face that lifestyle. Don't go and then drag somebody's daughter into your life only for you to now come and mess the person up, because that's what it is. Because by the time the person gets to know, the person might not, be so disillusioned that he might not even trust another guy to get in, with another. It takes somebody who has really discovered herself to now say, okay, let me move on with another person. That's the point I'm making here. Or you can tell the person, this is who I am, right? Let's agree. Maybe I will have 2 or 3 kids with you. I will pay you off. Let it just be agreed. If she agrees, there are a lot of ladies that will not mind. If she agrees, oh fine, you guys are good to go. And by the time she has that 2 or 3 kids for you, then you go your separate way, whatever thing that is agreed. I tell you guys a story. Somebody actually asked me to do a video on that, and I did a video on that a couple of I think a couple of months ago. A guy that was heavily infected with HIV, and he wanted to marry, and the church where they attend, I think most churches do that these days. They will run a test. Their own doctors will run a test on the couples to make sure that their genotype matches, their blood group, and so there's no terminal disease and so on and so forth. So this guy knew that if they should do that, because they will not allow you to bring any report from any doctor from outside, maybe your friend doctor, because he can always bring in a fake result and give you a clean bill of health, whereas there are issues. So they will insist on you using their doctor, an in-house doctor. So this guy knew that if that should happen, that the doctor would discover and tell this lady that he wants to marry. And what he quickly did, he started showing this lady love. See, oh no, I can't do without you. Honestly, this whether not 3 months or 6 months at the church, is their rule or something. He said, no, that is too much. I can't wait to have you as my wife. Blah 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 blah. So he convinced this lady, and they went to a friend's church and wedded there. Whatever church they went to, they wedded there. The lady didn't know, and then they started living together as man and wife. 8 months down the lane, I don't know who told her. I don't know how she got to know. This lady got to know. You know what? She first of all went to the hospital, tested herself. I think 2 or 3 hospitals, tested herself, and then the result came out negative. So she's not infected. She came home and told the guy, you know what? This marriage is over. The guy was like, oh my God, what do I tell people? My parents, the shame, my friends. 8 months after, we don't know. Ask them. The lady said, why did you not tell me? You should have told me, because it's like, blindly leading me into a death trap. I'm not saying you are not going to die, but you know what it means. You know what you are going through. You understand? So you should have told me that, look, we have a health challenge. This is what it is. And if I accept, both of us will carry it as a cross. Either we'll pray to God, or, we'll follow it up medically. But this one, you didn't tell me. You kept me in the dark. So your intent is for me to be infected, and then I'll go nowhere. Then that will not be that anything that, even if we have children, they are not even safe. So the lady said no. And that was how that marriage ended. That guy was heartbroken. Of course, who will he blame? Himself. But if he had taken time, probably at the peak of their emotions, when their emotions was running wild and all that, and they told the lady, look, I have something to tell you. I know you are too good for me. I'm not good enough to have you as a husband. I want to pray for you so that you can move. The lady will be like, what is it? What is going on? And then you drop that information that time. I've been trying to handle this. I've been on medication, blah, 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 blah. If that lady accepts you that time, she will stand by you, either prayerfully to handle it, or going to the hospital. Whatever thing the both of you will decide, she will stand by you. And at the end of the day, God will step in, because God said out of 2 or 3 witnesses, a matter is established. So by the time 2 of you will stand before God to be, witnessing that you don't want this, God will honor that, and both of you will enjoy the marriage. Is that not better than this one that you hid it from her, and then she now got to know 8 months after, and she walked away from that marriage? Do you blame her? So this one that discovered, if it is true, that discovered that, this guy is a gay guy, and she decided to walk away, do you blame her? Especially when she's not aware. You don't blame her, because this guy doesn't give her an attention as a wife, and so on and so forth. So it's like, it's only when, like, maybe he wants a child or whatever, I don't know, or whatever that made her to. So that's the point I'm making here. The same thing happened to Daddy Free's wife, if you remember. She sued her husband because she said she discovered that about the guy, and the guy didn't tell her. This lady walked away, and you don't blame her. The only reason that they're blaming her and Daddy Freeze is because they should have ended, that marriage, got divorced properly before moving on with this or that. That was just the only thing. But nobody is saying she should stay in that marriage. No, when she discovers something that the guy hid from her, it is absolutely wrong. So that's what I'm saying. People that are trolling Njideka, why did she leave her children to go and marry? No, the children are grown. She actually stayed back because of those children. Now she has remarried, facing her future. If you see her now, the way she's been smiling, a couple of videos about her that I saw, the way she's been smiling and everything. And Gozie had the opportunity of them reconcile. If he had wanted, that time he had an accident, I think in 2021, that she came about, taking care of him and all that as much as she could as an ex-wife. He had that opportunity. If he had wanted, he would have called and said, look, why don't you sort this thing out? This is it, this is this. I know this is true, I know this is not true. Just find a way around it so that they can make up and move on from there. Because whether anybody believes it or yes, you see, a broken home, honestly, is not the best. It affects all the parties that are involved. It affects them. No matter how you see it. Like these are children now. By the time the man marries another wife, there will always be one or two issues. It can't be the same as when it is their biological mother. But in all, we thank God because God has helped her. She has moved on. We also pray that Gozie, maybe somewhere along the line, it's easier for men. So he can always, maybe there is even somebody that is standing by. So he too will move on with somebody else and all that. Thankfully, the children are grown. So, it won't be that difficult for him to move on, or now that Njideka has moved on, okay? I want to wish Njideka all the best. And also Gozie, because at the end of the day, he's not going to stay like that. He's still a young man. So I wish him the best, and I wish Njideka the best. Right? Guys, that's how I see this thing. Yes, that's how I see it. But the lesson I want to bring out in this is that if you know you are an agege bread eater, please don't look for a sardine. Don't look for a sardine. Or if you want a sardine also, tell that sardine, because she's somebody's daughter, tell her that this is who you are. So if she's now deciding to stay with you, she will now know. If there's any way that people are going to arrange, okay, maybe after 2 kids or after 3 kids or whatever, she will now know. If she also says no, there will be somebody else that will accept you like that. Please go to that person rather than keeping somebody's daughter. And at the end of the day, maybe after a couple of years down the lane, then she will now get to know. No, 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 that's not fair. I don't think that's fair enough, okay? Please, gentlemen, don't let it get to this extent, right? Let's always get it right. Let's always get it right because we can if only we want to. Guys, that's all I have to say in this video. Please share your opinion with me at the comment section as usual. But like this video and then share this video, right? But above all, subscribe to my channel, the Judy TV show, so we'll be one big family, okay? And then we'll take it from there. I see you guys in my next video. Thank you guys for always watching my videos. Bye.